Hey guys, this is Jeff Kamke here with Wealth Energetics. In this video today, we're going to go over a case study of somebody that we've been working with for about a year on retirement. So if you're in your 50s or 60s, you've got a 6 or 7 figure net worth, and you're in the retirement, pre-retirement stage, and you're wanting to make sure you're planning for retirement, setting yourself up for successful retirement, and knowing what to look out for, and knowing what strategies are out there and what might be the best fit for you to implement into your retirement strategy. Because we've been working with people for a number of years, and it's sad the amount of people that we talk to on a regular basis that just don't have good counsel when it comes to retirement planning. Even if they're working with an advisor, we find there's often many deficiencies that the retirement accounts are meant to do all things for the retirement plan. It's focused on rate of return, and it's not looking out for the risks that come in retirement and making sure that we're using the right instruments in retirement to produce retirement income. Because one thing to over your working years to be growing money, putting money away, and using stock market investments to be growing your money and getting compounding interest versus when we need to switch that over to making income in retirement. We don't use the same vehicles for those. We need to be focused on what is the best thing for income and what's the best strategies to accomplish that. And also, what strategies can we use to make the most of our investment accounts and make sure they're more stable and we don't outlive our money. There's a lot of things that play into it. So I'm going to go over a case study here of a lady we've been working with for over a year, somebody that I've known for a long time, and her husband passed away a number of years ago. Even though she's got an advisor, she was just very uncertain about what her situation looked like and what she needed to do to basically know that she was set up for retirement, to have a good plan, to feel confident. And so we spent many calls going through a variety of scenarios, talking pros and cons and talking strategy, and to arrive at something that she felt really good with. And so we're going to go over that in this video. It's something that during our conversations and appointments, brought her to tears many times, just feeling the weight off of her shoulders and feeling the calm and the confidence in what we were doing and putting this plan together and what it was going to accomplish for her, that she could just focus on her remaining working years and then into retirement, not have to be worried about money. She could just be there for her kids and be with her grandkids and create memories and just enjoy the remainder of her years. That was just such a big weight lifted off her shoulders where she wouldn't have to worry about that anymore. So I'm going to do a share screen, and we're going to go over a little bit about what she, had going on and what we implemented for her in the strategy that we did. So here's just a little bit of what she had. She had almost 400,000 in across a couple different accounts. And, she didn't even know if that was enough money. When she came to me, is Jeff, is this even enough money to retire on? And so we broke that down for her. And what she was a little concerned with is right here on her statement. You can see this down here at the bottom, highlighted in orange, was estimated annual income was $7,700 out of a almost $400,000 per portfolio. So, when you do the math on that, 7,700 divided by 400,000, that's not a great percentage. That's a 2% safe withdrawal rate. So that's very low. And so combining Social Security with that amount, that wasn't going to really be enough to meet her needs, even in retirement. So she was very concerned about what this was going to look like for her. She also had some other investments outside of this. And she also had some credit card debt that we needed to handle and come up with a strategy for. She also had a whole life policy that was a very large whole life policy. It was something that she was having a hard time managing. It probably wasn't the best fit for her and what she had going on. It was maybe at the time, but it was written for best case scenario. It wasn't a whole life policy that took into consideration what if worst case scenario happens? What if she can't meet the premiums? What if this is too big of a policy? And that's what happened after COVID. The business that she had, that her husband actually had before he passed away, was related to the housing market and related to, the impacts of COVID and things being shut down for a while. So it really put her in a bind. So she was feeling financial pressure, not only from the debt, but from this whole life policy. Her goals were to obviously have enough money in retirement, try to get into retirement as debt-free as possible with a home paid off, and just really, feel good about money. So we've analyzed her investments. Her investments were in some okay funds. They weren't really great. The fees were a little bit too high. And the part of our team at Life 180 that does assets under management reviewed all that and, made those assessments that she was kind of in middle of the road products where she wasn't really getting good growth, but she wasn't really getting, efficiency for the fees that she was having to pay either. They were kind of high, so it wasn't a good trade-off, right? If you're going to be paying high fees, you want really good performance, and there wasn't really there. So what we ended up doing for her is we actually surrendered, or will be actually in the process of, we're actually not completed with the last step here, but we're going to be surrendering her whole life policy, getting her into a guaranteed universal life product that's going to give her some living benefits as she enters retirement, which is going to be similar to, but not an exact duplicate of long-term care. It's going to meet some of those needs, but not all of her long-term care needs. But that's going to take care of that risk in retirement, is what happens if she needs some nursing home care. She's going to have a pile of money designated for that. It's going to also provide a little bit of a death benefit for her children and grandchildren, which was very important for her to be able to do. And then we're going to be doing what a lot of people don't know about when it comes to retirement, and that is using not investment accounts to try to get retirement income out of, because it's very inefficient to do so. You can only usually get 2 to 4% out of a account, much like we were showing you here, of $7,700 is about 2% out of this retirement account, which is very, very low. And most people don't understand that annuities are a great complement to an overall retirement strategy, because you can usually be getting on the low end, usually 6% up sometimes 7, 8, 9% for the same amount of money in an annual rate. But that's guaranteed. The insurance company will guarantee you that amount. So you're able to basically either get, 50% to 100% more income out of the same amount of money, or need less money to produce the same amount of income. So we went over a product with her that was going to give her, here, let me move this window over here so you can see this. This was something that we did for her, where we put in a little less than 250,000 into an annuity that was going to be producing for her after about 3 years, about $24,400 per year. So that's over 3 times the amount that her assets we're going to be providing her there at the 7,700 amount. So she was very excited to see that and to know that, wow, she did put away enough money, and we didn't even need to use all of that money. We were able to keep about 100,000 or so left in the market so that she could be growing her money still and taking advantage of, the hope that the markets are going to continue to go up for the foreseeable future. So that was something that worked well for her. So she's got Social Security, she's got this annuity, she's got some outside investments, some like alternative investments. And then, of course, she's got still the stock market portfolio that's going to be able to still grow over time and hopefully keep pace with inflation, and hopefully, just allow her to have some flexibility to do different things. And then we also had some money that was in a Roth account that, was basically low-hanging fruit. And we were able to wipe out her debt. And she didn't even realize that that was like a strategy right in front of her that she could easily do. Pay no taxes, be completely debt-free other than her home, have this type of guaranteed income when she's ready to actually retire here in a few years, and set herself up for a wonderful retirement. So again, she was in tears multiple times after calls going through this, just so that she knew that she was in a good place and she understood the strategy and why. And even for the assets under management, the money that she's still going to have in the market, the team behind me, they're going to be meeting with her on a regular basis and making subtle adjustments to the money that's there in the market and why it's invested where it's at. And if there's changes in, economics, if there's changes in laws or different things like that, or when we get to the time where there are, maybe it's a change in the balance of power in the House or the Senate, or we have a presidential change. Any of those things, you always want to be really on top of where you're invested and where you're allocated with your stock portfolio. So she's going to have that assurance, but it's part of the overall team that's already working on the life insurance, already working on the annuities, that's already helped her with the debt. So it's peace of mind because everybody's on the same page. Everybody behind the scenes is communicating with each other, helping her get the best out of the money that she's got for retirement. So she felt fantastic about that. And, that is just so good. So for us, we're looking at it from, we took care of longevity risk because between Social Security and the annuity, she's not going to run out of money. She's got that guaranteed amount of money coming in that she knows is going to be there. She doesn't have to think twice about it. She's got money to grow. She's got money in the market, so there's kind of a little bit of a buffer there. If she needs extra money, she's got it. If that money continues to grow, there might be a point where we actually take some of that money out of the market and make another annuity to amplify her guaranteed income coming in. Because if we have another scenario where inflation is really, really high and cost of living goes up, she might need a little bit more in form of guaranteed income, and we might do that through an annuity. So that's great. Now we've already talked about the long-term care strategy and using the living benefits of a guaranteed universal life product to help her with that. And but just by those strategies right there, we've taken a few things off the board, as far as like inflation risk and just some of those risks that come with retirement, where we want to make sure that if the markets go way down, it doesn't affect our retirement. It doesn't put us in jeopardy of needing to go find a job. So we've handled that risk in retirement. So there's just a lot of great things that this overall plan has done. So if you're in a situation where you don't have good counsel when it comes to retirement, you're really not sure what you're doing or why, you just have your 401k, you're kind of doing what everybody else does, and you would like a more comprehensive, audit of what you've got and why you're invested where you're at, why you have the financial tools that you do. Are they accomplishing the goals that you have? Or are you just putting money into things because it's the sound good, or it's because what the guru has taught, or it's what the kind of the narrative is what you should be doing, but it actually doesn't make the most sense for you or in your situation, or you're not planning ahead enough for retirement, because there's a lot of financial instruments that can help you set yourself up for a safer retirement, to where you have buffers in place, to where you're going to be able to have multiple sources of income for retirement that are going to help stabilize retirement, going to help you in market downturns to not run out of money, and just a lot of those things. So if this is something that you need help with, click the link here with this video, because it's going to give you access to my calendar where we can jump on a call. I'll get to know you, your situation, what you're looking for. We can take a look at what you've got, and probably in a follow-up second call, we can go over some of those strategies and figure out, what makes sense to maybe put in place for you to give you more clarity in what you've got, hopefully give you more control and a higher sense of security and confidence in what your money is doing, and that you're on the right track towards retirement, so that you can be living the retirement that you want, and knowing that you've got that peace of mind with the money that you are having coming in retirement, to really go out and live your best life. Because retirement's about, living your best life in those years. You've hopefully worked well enough, put enough money away. Now let's turn that money on so it's working for you, and that you can go be with your kids, be with your grandkids, go travel, go do the things that maybe you weren't able to do while you were working, and just live your remaining years to the fullest. So click that link if you want to know more, and I'll look forward to talking to you on that. Until then, have a great day, guys, and we'll talk to you in the next video. Bye-bye.